Now.
A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
We just can't get into the weekend without a bit of Sam Hunt, first of all. G'day there, Sam.
Well, I don't know about that. Oh, g'day, Wammo. How are you?
Very good.
Good. Yeah, no, I don't know about the weekend. I've been hearing about the end of the world, though. That's all I've been hearing about.
Oh, well, what particular aspect of the end of the world?
Well, how is it? Seem to be a lot of people who, well, there's been a lot of grim things happening around the world, and there are a lot of awful things, terrible natural things, and man-made disasters and so on. And my mind goes back to when I was a kid. On radio, they used to have, when I was in the 1950s, they used to play, I may have mentioned this before, some of these programs, they made a big impact on me, for sure. I think they came from the BBC, and they were called Face to Face. They were radio interviews.
Oh, yeah.
And John Freeman, who was also the editor of the New Statesman at the time, he did these interviews. It was sort of anyway. Many of the interviews I remember, particularly ones with people like Tony Hancock, just not long before he hanged himself, but a bloody marvellous interview, incredible interview. Sterling Moss, T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, and one of the interviews that made a big impact on me, and this gets back to this end of the world thing, and the prophets, was Carl Jung, who was in his 90s. Great interview, which lasted for over an hour, I seem to remember.
What sticks in your mind about it?
Well, Freeman said to Jung, "What would you say as far as who you'd go to for wisdom?" And I remember Jung saying in this broken German voice, "If you want to know about life, don't go to the professors and the dons of the universities. Go to the poets and to the prophets." And, well, with people talking about the gloom and the depression and sadness, I found myself quoting a few lines, and a number of people said to me that by T.S. Eliot, and a number of people said, "Oh, I didn't realize that he wrote those lines." And so just to put it right for anyone who was possibly put off T.S. Eliot at school because they had to do all the usual school stuff of understanding it before you could hear it, I'd just like to read the last two short parts of the poem he wrote back in 1925, called The Hollow Men.
Oh, yes.
Yep, and here are just the last two parts. I think it's magnificent poetry, and I mean, to talk about the prophets, the prophets, I don't know about all that, but I know it's bloody good poetry. Just listen to these couple of last parts, parts 4 and 5 of The Hollow Men. The eyes are not here. There are no eyes here in this valley of dying stars, in this hollow valley, this broken jaw of our lost kingdoms. In this last of meeting places we grope together and avoid speech, gathered on this beach of the tumid river, sightless unless the eyes reappear as the perpetual star, multifoliate rose of death's twilight kingdom, the hope only of empty men. Here we go round the prickly pear, prickly pear, prickly pear. Here we go round the prickly pear at 5 o'clock in the morning. Between the idea and the reality, between the motion and the act falls the shadow, for thine is the kingdom. Between the conception and the creation, between the emotion and the response falls the shadow. Life is very long. Between the desire and the spasm, between the potency and the existence, between the essence and the descent falls the shadow. For thine is the kingdom, for thine is life is, for thine is thee. This is the way the world ends, this is the way the world ends, this is the way the world ends, not with a bang, but a whimper. Yeah.
Crikey.
He's good, eh?
Yeah.
Isn't he good? I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus. You know, I think so. Some people may say it's old-fashioned and using old Anglican prayers and things. I don't know, but to me, it's got a, you know, what Carl Jung said, go to the poets. Well, I'm happy to, I don't know about being prophets or things, but I sometimes think the great poets, and I'm talking of the great poets, many of whose names have never been heard, but people who have produced great poems, that for me is a great poet, a person who produces a great poem.
And so when you're currently talking about sort of, or thoughts of the end of the world, of course, I gather you're not talking about a full stop, you're talking about the end of the order of things?
Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would agree. I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. don't know. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm just being struck by how many people say to me that they think it's the end of the world. And I mean, here am I buying after 27 years. I'm today purchasing a new amplifier. So I mean, I'm a new amplifier, like for home stereo. Did I tell you that one blew up? My old 27-year-old one.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I worked out that I bought that sound system, of which the amplifier was last remaining bit, the one that blew last week. I bought that for $15. It seems quite a lot of money then, I suppose. $1,500 in St. Patrick's Day, 1983, on the same day that I bought my boathouse for the same amount, $1,500. I lived in the boathouse for 14 years and played the and used the amplifier for 27.
Yeah.
And anyway, the new one's coming today, so that's so it did not. I mean, the world did not end too quickly. I want to have a listen.
So it's got all the whiz bangs and everything you need on it.
Oh, but good. You're good. It's actually, I don't know. I hope it's a good one. Its make is a Cambridge Audio.
Oh, okay. It sounds good.
I think they are good. I've been checking things out with a few old mates who know a bit about it, and also the other thing I'd like to mention, if I may, bring a new poem in called Rapo Chord. I'm just in the process of putting. I've done it now. We're getting the cover of the book. This is the book I've got coming out in April called Chords and Other Poems. And now I've done the cover, a big hunk of metal that I found up at Cass. Which is off the railway coupling. It's a railway coupling, but it was cast off. Found a beautiful shape. It just is exactly the shape I want. And so, and here's a little poem for the weekend.
Cool.
A little something for the weekend. This will be one of the last poems in the chords section of the book. There are two parts, chords, and then the other poems. Okay?
Yep.
So here, for what it's worth, and I hope it's okay, is Rapo Chord. It's in 4 short parts. I know I dreamt of you last night. This morning thought I'd known you for years. It's ridiculous. I say, where has sanity gone? It went whistling some tune out west, which is where I meet you in the dream for the first time. We meet up later, agree it's good to see each other, not ever admit we're total strangers. Where has sanity gone? You took me out for a meal. There was nothing of me left. I know I dreamt of you last night. We can't keep on meeting this way, I hear you say as I come to. Keep on meeting in these dreams as we do. It won't get us anywhere fast. Something will break, it will have to, is what I dreamt of you last. Whistling some tune out west, strangers meeting at sunset, promising to remember the whole of it tomorrow, but knowing they won't, but it won't matter anyway, and the sanity's long out the window. Strangers then, strangers now, and a drowned sailor of a sunrise. So that's Rapo Chord.
Nice, I like that.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
It feels right. And somebody said, "What do you mean about drowned sailor of a sunrise?" Well, of course, you know that a drowned sailor takes 3 days to rise. So in other words, there's no sunrise happening today. These subtleties that some English teacher will be telling his class one day.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is what the poet meant.
Yeah.
How's the music? Are you playing good music?
I think so. Well, I hope so.
I wish I could get. I still can't. Still haven't found a way to listen to Kiwi.
Oh, through the interwebs you can do it.
No, but I get the podcast things.
Oh, yeah.
So that's good. Oh, no, that's good.
Oh, cool.
Well,
all right.
You have a good weekend, Wamo, and just remember the old Sicilian phrase, Baciamo limani, questo non altro, oscamente, forte alla vita, which means have a good weekend. See you, Wamo.
See ya.